Hey guys, I'm Rain Younger, and this is a very special edition of Under the Radar, where we talk all things film and sometimes TV. And we're going to be reviewing two wonderful but very strange films. Cocaine Bear in theaters now, and we're doing a little retro review of 1993's Last Action Hero. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, I want to welcome my friend and fellow critic, Mr. Kevin Muscara. Kevin, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Randall. Always a pleasure. Excuse me. Yeah,
Yeah,
roar for cocaine.
yeah.
Raw,
Perfect.
raw.
Very excited to get into it with you. But first up, I want to just check in with you, do our weekly watches. It's been a while since you've been on the show. What have you been watching lately?
Lately, I've been embracing more of the sitcoms from that. So, different streamers, some things on TV. American Auto spin-off from the writers of Superstore. I think it's hilarious.
Okay.
The other one is Abbott Elementary, got the office vibes, but in a school. And
Nice.
then I'll say I'm in the middle of it right now, which I think is very topical, which is Reboot. I know they did not get picked up for another season, but the whole concept of rebooting a sitcom
Oh,
from basically when we were kids. It was with Keegan from Key and
okay.
Peele,
Okay.
and I gotta say, pretty interesting, pretty
Wait,
entertaining.
wait, Reboot, wasn't that a computer animated show back in the
Yes,
90s?
I'm pretty sure that was like blue or turquoise people that were robots, but I'm
Yeah.
talking about the Hulu sitcom streamer that
Okay.
was basically kind of meta and mocking the format, but also elevating it and appreciating it for what it was. It had layers,
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, my mind went in a totally different direction there.
but
That's
I
fun.
know exactly what you're talking
You
about, and
remember that,
frankly, I don't
right?
think many people would remember that one.
Yeah, good times. Gotta love the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Um, so that's good. Some exciting stuff you're watching. Abbott Elementary, I know, is doing very well. It's gotten
Mhm.
a bunch of acclaim, so that's on my radar for sure, for sure. As for me, I am still going through the acclaimed films of 2022. The Oscars are coming up on March 12th, so I want to just be prepared for all of that, um, including, but not limited to, All Quiet on the Western Front. It's actually
Mm.
based on a story that was adapted into a film in 1930. They did it again, I think, in the 70s, and now they had the newest one currently up for Best Picture. So that should be good.
So
Also,
another reboot getting some
yeah,
attention, especially what I'm hearing. Yeah.
everything is getting rebooted, sequelized, requels, remakes. It's yeah. There is some originality out there, but it's kind of hard to find. But yeah. Side note, have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I have not, and I have to. I've heard such great things about it because, as you know, I am a superhero fan of sorts, and I always prioritize those movies. The
Mm.
best review I heard about it that made me interested in seeing it, it was from one of my nephews. He said, think of what Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness should have been, and it's that and even better.
Yes, it is. It is. And I highly recommend it. It'll probably win Best Picture at the Oscars this year.
You're feeling
So
that confident about it.
I'm pretty confident it will win.
Okay.
And it's playing in select theaters still. And I recommend, since you haven't seen it, check it out on the big screen because it is worth the price of admission for sure.
You
So
know what? It's so hard to say that nowadays about movies, so you definitely sold me on it.
nice, nice. Happy to hear that. So aside from the acclaimed films of last year, I'm also, brushing up on my Howard Stern. I watch random clips at work on my lunch break. It's a
Hmm.
nice time filler. And the man is great. He knows what he's doing. He's a very talented personality. So
And he's transitioned and transcended and like adapted over time. You start with the shock jock, which is
mhm.
most famous for. I mean, I know you saw Private Parts. That's
Right.
basically what he was known and did for longest times. Then he has, he cleaned up his actor, one could argue, or kept it the same, but still show a different side of him with America's Got Talent for a long time as a judge.
Right.
And I would say the past few years, but especially the last 2 to 3, I think people have appreciated more and more for his interview skills.
Yeah.
He can have a very serious, well-researched, in-depth skill with somebody and like ask them questions that you don't get from a lot of guests.
Yeah.
He wants to get into the psyche. If you're a musician, tell me how you write a song. How do you leverage your creativity to create something new and powerful, or if you're an actor, how do you get into that framework? It's like these are really good long form interviews that are very entertaining. So
I love
I'm happy you're hearing that. Yeah.
I absolutely love his style. Very conversational, from rock stars to politicians to actors. He puts them on his level. Like he treats them like they're equal. And that's what I try to do with my interviewees, is try to just keep it friendly, keep it on an even level. And Stern is great with that. I think his interviewing is top notch. I watch a lot of stuff from like the late 90s and early 2000s. It's all like, disgusting, just like nudity. There's these weird people like Beetlejuice, and he
Whack
definitely
Pack.
the Whack Pack, exactly. And Elliot Offen, who I think do you remember from our childhood, the jogger wearing the ladies'
Yes.
lingerie? He had him on
Yes.
his show a few times.
I am quite aware of that. Yeah, that's not true. I will say, because you talk about streaming, we are talking about them. I highly recommend, because usually you hear about these interviews, and obviously it's radio. He did film his interview with Bruce Springsteen, and that's on HBO Max.
Oh, nice.
And many people love Bruce Springsteen. I cannot say I'm not a huge fan, but personal choice. But I respect what he has done. He's got a huge library. But the interview in and of itself made you really appreciate how he works as a musician, his thought process and everything. And I really recommend that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out soon. Yeah, he's great. I love Howard. And I think he's evolved over the years for sure. From a shock jock to now just a really good interviewer. So it's good
Still
for
get a
him.
little shock jock.
Yeah. And he's got many years ahead of him, I'm sure. Also, I'm in the middle of The Last of Us. I don't know if you're a fan of the show or the game, but
I am so intrigued.
yeah.
So much so. But I've been spoiled with streaming.
Okay.
I'm purposely avoiding every article other than it just saying if it's good or bad, because I want to binge it when the season's over. A show like that, and from what I'm hearing, it will drive me bananas if I have to wait a whole week from episode to episode.
True. But people are talking about it, they're obsessed with it. I couldn't wait for it to just all be on, to binge it. I needed to watch some of it at least to get caught up in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worth it, Kevin. But I think there's maybe two more episodes left. So yeah.
So that's going to be one long weekend for me after that.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. Also, just random movies. I know I love Michael Douglas, so I've been going through his filmography again. And I wanted to mention, since we are going to be discussing an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie tonight. Last night was the pilot of True Lies, the series on CBS. And it's as bad as you expect it to be.
I was hoping you weren't going to say I was hoping for something different. I really was.
Yeah,
but I'm not surprised.
Though
I hear Tom Arnold's in it. I don't know if it's a cameo or like a recurring character, but I did see him in the commercials.
Yeah, I think they're just doing that to promote it. But he is in. I think he's going to be in the next episode. But after last night, Kevin, I don't want to watch anymore. It's really bad. It's an insult to the original movie. And I mean, I know why they didn't do a sequel back in the early 2000s, because of 9/11 and terrorism wasn't funny.
Wait, was that it? I always thought the rumor was he wanted to focus on Avatar.
No, I believe Cameron wanted to do True Lies 2, but it didn't work at the time. But yeah, we got it. We sort of got True Lies 2, or it's a reboot in a series, and it's just atrocious. The acting's awful. It's not interesting. It's just very cheesy, kind of like those police procedural dramas, and they try to be funny, but it just comes off as corny. And I was really let down because you know how much I love True Lies.
No, it's a phenomenal film. I mean, it's times like that you want to tell James Cameron, I get you have these passion projects, your
Yeah.
Titanics, your Avatars, but deviate a little focus every once in a while because you can still make a fun movie.
Yeah, and the sad thing is he produced this. He was an executive producer on it.
It could just be by name because he had so much. He was so involved with the movie itself.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident that he probably didn't do much with that TV show,
No,
other than he's
give some
associated with the property.
right, just supply some funds for it because it is a very expensive looking show. A lot of stuff is blowing up. There's a flashy editing, but yeah, I would steer clear, Kevin. It's really bad. If you're curious, go ahead, but I'm telling you.
No, I know, but it's what we're talking about here, and it could dovetail into like when we talk about Cocaine Bear, because I know I have a lot of positive to say is sometimes when you tell me or expect something to be bad, I just get that much more curious about it.
Well, there you go. Well, just proceed with caution. That's all I'm saying. So, all right. Oh no, also on CBS, Survivor has just started up, season 44. I watched that last night as well, so that was a lot better than True Lies, the series.
I didn't realize you're a retiree watching Survivor. Okay.
Well, I may or may have not visited my mother last night. So yes, but it was fun. It's entertaining. I like the challenges there. Anyway, aside from hanging out with my mom,
Great segue.
Yeah. Let's get into Cocaine Bear, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Now this
It's
is
the best type of segue. Mother to cocaine.
Yes, of course. So this is actually based on a true story. Well, loosely based. Basically, in 1985, there was a drug smuggler who was flying in a plane over a forest area, and basically to remove weight from the plane, he ditches a bunch of bags of cocaine. The bags end up in the forest, and a black bear ingests some of this cocaine. This is a true story. The bear died, I think, shortly after. But in the movie, the bear goes on a killing rampage, and basically a small band of strangers have to try to survive in the wilderness and just, not get killed by this cocaine fueled bear. This movie was directed by Elizabeth Banks. I think she did a very good job. It's a lot of fun. You go into it. It's exactly how you expect it to be. It's just a really silly horror comedy, which is pretty funny, and it's just ridiculous because of the premise. And I mean, I don't know if it was worth the $20 admission, but it was a fun time. I'm not going to lie. Kevin, what were your thoughts on Cocaine Bear?
Well, I'm not going to hide it. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I loved it. I mean, kudos to the marketing team. They had me hooked months ago just by telling me there's a movie coming called Cocaine Bear, because that's all you knew for the longest time about it.
Right.
Trailers sold me on it. And frankly, that's a title. I like to make comparisons to movies in terms of what my expectations would have been. This type of movie is what Snakes on a Plane should have been. Like in terms of quality, in terms of delivery, in terms of excitement.
Yeah.
It hit all the marks there. I mean, we knew it was going to be an 80s movie, right? Well, we knew it was set in the 80s. Kudos to Elizabeth Banks. I felt like I was watching a movie in the 80s of that era, like as I was there. The choice of cinematography there, her music, like she was transitioning scenes with synthesizer music in the background. I mean, the costumes, the everything about it just put me in that time frame.
Right.
And the acting was great. I was laughing. I was enjoying it. I got a little bit of the gore that I wanted from a B movie. Sometimes a little bit too much, but hey, that was the 80s too. I mean, I just enjoyed it. You go in wanting just to be entertained, knowing this is not going to be on the Oscar list, and
Right,
it's going to deliver.
right. I mean, and it's a great way to start the year, I think. I mean, we had another fun movie in Megan about the killer doll, but this blows Megan out of the water. This is just such a fun movie. It's ridiculous. It's got an ensemble cast as well, including the late great Ray Liotta, Liotta,
Leo, yeah.
in I think his final film, or one of his films, final films. But it was great to see him in this. Kerry Russell was actually really good. I really just know her from Felicity and
Mm-hmm.
various roles, but she was kind of a strong-willed mom in this, and I really liked her performance here. Um, the visual effects were ridiculous. They looked very fake. The bear in question, of course, looked very CGI'd, but that's okay. It still was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't think it would have worked that well if the bear looked that realistic. If
You
you're
think it
selling a
added
B
to that?
movie, if
Yeah.
you're selling that this is supposed to be just fun and literally it's just about a bear who eats cocaine, and
Yeah.
we know it's not true,
Right.
the faker the bear, the better. I mean, as
Yeah.
long as he didn't look like he was animated, I was game.
Right. We don't want another Yogi Bear. Uh, here. And I wanted to also mention Universal Pictures released it, and they did Jaws. So I kind of saw some parallels, vague parallels there, but they definitely know how to pick their horror properties, their horror projects, as it were.
So I know you're big on 80s horror and like B movies like that. Did you get Evil Dead vibes like I did at some scenes?
Some I got more like Shaun of the Dead vibes here. Uh,
Okay.
I'm trying to think of an 80s movie that I mean, you've got, like I mentioned, Jaws and all the sequels, Piranha. This, I don't know. I mean, the setting obviously felt like, Friday 13th or Sleepaway Camp.
Hmm.
That was good. But it since it also, because it did take place in 1985, it definitely had that vibe, like you were saying, that atmosphere was very well established. And I thought it was perfect for the events that followed.
Yeah, I would say even the quality of the film, it looked grainy.
Yeah, a
Like that
little bit.
wasn't a picture like it really felt like this is an older movie. You know,
Right.
we just happen to be watching it in 2023, but it could have easily, granted, let's take to the side that bear CGI could have been in something filmed in the 80s.
Yeah, I give a lot of props to the editing department, and of course Elizabeth Banks. She knew what she was doing behind the camera here. She's come a long way since Spider-Man, right?
Well, listen, I mean, she's already shown great signs of
Hmm.
being a great director when it comes to comedies, and I would still put this in the comedy field. I mean, the Pitch Perfect series, they're huge.
Right.
Those are her babies.
True. Yeah. Honestly, I really just know her from the Pitch Perfect stuff and some other stuff. Let me see here. So Elizabeth Banks. Yeah, okay. So she did the first, no, she directed the second Pitch Perfect. She produced
Mhm.
the first one. Then she did The Most Hated Woman in America. Didn't catch that. She was producer on that. She was also a producer on Pitch Perfect 3. It's weird that she only directed the second one. And then she also directed and produced the Charlie's Angels reboot from 2019, which I did not have the pleasure.
That's not the no that 2019. That wouldn't be Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu.
No, this was Kristen Stewart was in it. So it was like a reboot with younger actresses.
Yeah, let's give her a mulligan on that one because I don't think I've seen that one either. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I haven't seen it, but I
that
mean, she's
yeah.
funny. She's fun. I thought it
Good.
worked well. Ray Liotta was a perfect bad guy.
Yes, yes.
Um,
So good.
it was weird because, and maybe just the way that he was made up with the hat and the glasses, you knew it was Ray Liotta, but I
Right.
bought that he was this different character, right? Sometimes when you're that famous, it's hard to see beyond the actor. No, no,
Right.
I believed it. And then
Sure.
O'Shea Jackson, I thought was great. He was
Yeah.
hilarious. I
Yeah.
haven't seen him since Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, really? O'Shea
Yeah.
Jackson Jr. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ice Cube's kid.
Yeah, he was pretty good. I definitely loved Ray Liotta.
Mhm.
Uh, he was so good in everything he did. He never gave a bad performance. Obviously Field of Dreams, Goodfellas, and everything that followed. He was just such a good villain, and I think he was perfect casting in Cocaine Bear. So it was very nice to see him in that. And you could see he's having fun with the role too.
Oh
So,
yeah.
you know, so he definitely he went out with a bang. So
But that's what I'm saying. To me, that's what like a Snakes on a Plane should have been.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
go signing up knowing this is going to be a zany, fun, tip of the hat, wink to the audience type
Right.
movie, and they were all a part of it.
Right. Yeah, they were. They knew what they were doing. Snakes on a Plane. The viral it was like an image, right? It was a viral image that basically evolved into the Sam Jackson movie. It had so much potential, and I think Cocaine Bear delivered on the promise of its title, of its premise. You know,
Oh, 100%.
you know, it definitely hit all the right marks. And I want to also mention two other actors here. Alden Ehrenreich, who was Han Solo in the Solo film Ron Howard directed.
That was him?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. I
yeah.
actually really liked him on this one. Not
Yeah.
so much Han Solo, but I liked him on this.
Agreed. He was also in a Coen Brothers film, Hail Caesar, a couple years ago, and he's just a very talented young actor, and he was very funny in this. Um, at first,
He
yeah,
made you like a drug dealer.
yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
Like at first, I didn't even recognize him. I mean, it's like he looks a little familiar, but then I'm like, oh my God, that's Han Solo. Yeah. So nice to see him in the role.
Still
Also,
doing the smuggler's run.
yeah. Also, Margot Martindale. She's been in a ton of stuff. She's like, she's an older lady, but still very active.
She was a
She,
park ranger, right?
yeah, exactly. And I thought she was perfectly cast. She had I mean, slight spoiler. I'm not gonna spoil anything. I wanted to get into a spoiler. Yeah, Kevin, it's been a while for you on the show, but no spoiler zone here.
I will say she she had a role that could have easily bombed,
Yeah,
and she knew how to hit her marks to make those jokes land.
yeah,
When she had to play it serious, even though it was zany, she played it serious. When she
yeah.
had to drop some nice nuggets and some lines to make you laugh, they
Mhm.
always hit.
Well put, sir. Well put. Very talented actress. She's a veteran actually. Um, and yeah, she's won some awards. Nominated for a few Emmys, it seems. So, and she was in The Rocketeer actually. That's pretty cool. But
Just drop that in there right now.
yeah. I love The Rocketeer.
Yes.
Classic. Um, so Cocaine Bear, I enjoyed the movie very much so in the theater, and I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 100% sure I'm gonna like it even more the second time. This is a type of movie that will develop a cult following. It's gonna be popular for decades. It's a fun movie to just throw on, when you're with your friends, just have a good time. It's a perfect shut your brain off type of movie. And I kind of wish we saw it together, Kevin. I think that
Yeah,
would.
no, I agree with you. And I'm only going to take what you say, but I'm just going to add another layer to it. I'm predicting,
Yes,
put
sir.
it on, write it down. When this thing hits Netflix, it's going to be
Oh,
one of those movies that people remember, forgot about, and then everybody's talking about, and it gets another resurgence again.
oh
This
yeah,
will be a huge Netflix hit
oh
when it
yeah.
gets there, because
This
this
is
is a perfect streamer for that.
yeah. This is definitely going to be very popular. It's already very popular. It's
Oh,
definitely
they
popular.
hurt Ant-Man so bad.
Oh,
I think Ant-Man did it more to themselves, but
you
yeah,
know,
they took a lot of their box office.
and speaking to that, I know you saw Ant-Man 3. I didn't have a chance yet. Is it as bad as people say?
Um, yeah, for me to like, I
Wow.
normally like to disagree. I'll
Wow.
say it's been. This tells you everything. I've only fallen asleep. Granted, it was only for a minute or two. watching two superhero movies. It would be this one, and the other one was Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. That tells you
Oh,
everything right there.
that is a bold statement, sir.
It's
Very bold.
fact. They try to do a lot, and I don't know if they hit them. I don't know if it worked.
Because Ant-Man 1 and 2 are very good. Well, the first one's very good. The second one's decent. I guess they just kind of just go downhill after each one, huh?
It's if Ant-Man 1 or 2 have like a soul, a personality, a very distinct style that people appreciated. 3 didn't have that. 3 was like something new, rebranded, that just had Ant-Man on the title. It was ambitious. They were trying to give you a good movie to set up a whole phase of movies.
Right.
And it didn't work for me.
Yeah. So the whole stuff with the quantum realm, they just kind of went too far.
I think it went too far. They were trying to set up future movies. I don't normally say this because I'm gonna give a comparison. I've heard it before. They try to be Star Wars. I think they failed because it was too much CGI. Even a Star Wars, which is supposed to be, galaxy far, far away, long, long time ago, in a galaxy far, far, like there's still a lot of practical effects to it, right? You're not seeing everything in outer space.
Yeah.
This was too much CGI, too much green screen.
That is so sad, so disappointing because Marvel usually has hit blockbusters on one after the other.
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's gone down week 2 during Cocaine Bear in their box office sales, but it's weird. It'll be a disappointment compared to other Marvel movies,
Yeah.
but compared to most movies, they're still making money. I mean,
Oh, sure.
it's like, here, take my money. It's a Marvel movie. I don't care what you give me. Like, I'm one of those guys. I'll admit it.
All right. Well, I'm still gonna check it out because I am curious and I love Paul Rudd. So we shall see what happens with that. But yeah, okay. So back to Cocaine Bear. Slight tangent. Kevin, would you recommend Cocaine Bear to the masses, whoever's listening right
Not only will I recommend it, I
now?
say accompany said movie with a solid beer. This is, you kick off your shoes, you relax, you had a bad day, you pop on that movie, shut off your brain, and you'll enjoy it.
It would have been cool to see this at the Alamo or the Nighthawk because, yeah.
I was actually thinking that when I was thinking about going to see it. Those
Perfect.
are the type of movie theaters that are made for a Cocaine Bear.
Well put, sir. Well put. And I say, see it, guys. It is just a drug-fueled romp, and you won't be disappointed. So that's Cocaine Bear, now in theaters, and hopefully streaming soon. So, all right, guys, we're going to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with our second film review, our retro review of Last Action Hero, right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Randy Younger, Kevin Mascara, and we are halfway through the episode. And this is a moment I've been excited for the past few days when we established that this would be our second review, and it is the 1993 action comedy Last Action Hero, starring the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger. And what's his name here? Sorry, we've got Austin O'Brien. I always forget his name, Austin O'Brien. And Yeah, we are now, this is the 30th anniversary of this truly underrated gem. And basically, we have young Danny Madigan, played by Austin O'Brien. It's a young kid who is addicted to film. I can relate. And his favorite hero is Jack Slater, a movie within a movie, played by Schwarzenegger. And throughout the course of the film, Danny comes in contact with a magic ticket, which basically opens up the realm, the movie world, and he is basically transported into this movie world with Jack Slater, and he goes along for the ride. It's an adventure. They're going after a villain played by a great Charles Dance. He's got a collection of glass eyes. And this movie was directed by John McTiernan of Predator and Die Hard with a Vengeance fame. It is a really fun movie. It's very funny. It's action packed, and it didn't get a lot of love. That's because it opened, I think, 2 weeks or a week after Jurassic Park. Very bad timing, but the movie has found a cult following. And Kevin and I, we grew up with this movie.
Oh yeah.
It's so much fun, and it really needs to get more attention. And hopefully, by talking about it now, we will enlighten the audiences to just revisit this great movie. Kevin, Last Action Hero, your thoughts and your first impression. How old were you? We were about 8 years old, right?
Had to be. I mean, this was, peak Schwarzenegger, peak, action films between him, Stallone, your Van Dammes. But we were young. We were 8 years old. And look at one of your leads other than Arnold Schwarzenegger, a kid who gets to go into the movies and be part of an action movie. If that is not some form of wish fulfillment to like attract people of our age at that time, I don't know what is. So yeah, held it very close to my heart. Definitely loved it. I mean, it was, as a kid, you enjoy it. Even as an adult, you can still enjoy it because of the layers of it being self-aware that it's almost an homage or a parody to the style. So whatever age you want to watch this movie, you'll get something out of it.
Yeah, it's very meta, which I think this is one of the first types of movies I remember. Like, and I think a year before, they came out with Stay Tuned, which had John Ritter and his wife get sucked into a TV world. So that was like the trend in that year, that 2 year span.
I feel like that one was less meta though. That was just straight comedy with that as a background. Like
Yeah.
in this one, he was literally talking about the tropes.
Right.
Oh, the bad guy always says this, or there's always a guy in that room, and just all those little lines. Because it's true.
Yeah. And also, I want to mention that this was rated PG-13, which, yeah, it was a lot different from Schwarzenegger's previous R-rated outings. So I guess they wanted to appeal to more of an audience by making it more accessible for families and stuff like that. So prior to this, Schwarzenegger did Terminator 2, which was hugely successful, and the studio expected the same type of response for this movie. But again, being released so close to Jurassic Park, that wasn't a very good marketing tactic. It really hurt this film, and it's a shame because it's just a lot of fun. I rewatched it the other night, and it gets better and better as the decades go on. We are in the 30th anniversary here, and I think John McTiernan has said he does not really like this movie, or he was very disappointed with the result. Everyone involved expected something huge and successful, but it's a shame. I'm trying to think here. Yeah. Oh, I want to also talk about the supporting cast here. Just a few names, actually. F. Murray Abraham, Art Carney. Art Carney plays Arnold's Jack Slater's favorite second cousin, who gets killed, and that fuels Jack Slater's revenge. This was actually Art Carney's last film as well. So very unique casting there. I mentioned Charles Dance as Benedict, the villain, who he is
Great
just
villain. Great
wonderful.
villain.
Love him in everything he's done. He was also the villain in The Golden Child. Yeah. I love that
Yep.
reaction.
Yep.
And back to F. Murray Abraham was also a villain. The movie's 30 years old, so I don't think these are considered spoilers. Yeah. So who else we got? Oh, Frank McRae plays the police captain who has smoke coming out of his ears. He's so angry.
Perfect.
Tom Noonan as the Ripper. Great villain. Really creepy.
I was gonna say we gotta talk about the Ripper. I mean, this is where it's funny, like the movie doesn't get a lot of love, but I love what they did with it. They have this really creepy character. I was certainly scared as a child of him. Like he definitely made you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
But even the transition, because in the movie, when they go from the movie world back to the real world, you even felt the stakes. You even felt more of the fear coming out there. It's darker, it's drearier. It's like basically comes out into like a crack alley equivalent and behind the movie theater. And then he's there on the roof. So well done. They set it up that this is not a guy you mess with.
There's a scene during the movie premiere, the movie within a movie premiere in Times Square. It's a theater, and Danny is following the Ripper up the staircase, and the music and the Ripper like looks back at Danny. It's very spooky, very scary. And Tom Noonan was the perfect actor. He's tall, he's very creepy and menacing. He was actually the Frankenstein monster in the Monster Squad.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that. No.
So he definitely has a reputation for being tall and disturbing.
I mean, I guess you could make a career out of that. I don't know if I necessarily want to be branded as that guy.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Hey, if it's a paycheck, why not? All the power to him. We also have Robert Prosky, who was a great character actor. He was Mr. Lundy in Mrs. Doubtfire. So he plays Nick, the theater owner in the real world, where basically he's Danny's best friend because he runs the projection booth. He shows all these Jack Slater movies, and Danny's the only guy in the theater basically, except for a couple of bums. And he actually gives him the magic ticket.
I mean, what more can you say about him? He's a great like friendly face. He was perfectly cast as that. I mean, just let's analyze the description you gave him. He is an elderly man who hangs out with a young boy in an empty movie theater. That can easily go south if not acted appropriately. But he did. Like it was a friendly, it was almost like a grandpa vibe. He did it really well. Yeah, he still gives that same friendly atmosphere in Doubtfire, like you said. Good casting. Period.
He's just very warm and cuddly, And so this movie, Danny, they don't really they sort of mention it. Danny's mother, played by the great Oscar-winning actress Mercedes Ruehl, she probably mispronounced that too. She hints at it that Danny's father is out of the picture. Well, he's definitely out of the picture. We don't know if he passed away or if it was just divorce, but Danny is fatherless. So he's looking to Nick for, that fatherly companion. He's looking to Jack Slater for that.
More so, I'd say. Yeah.
That's one of the main themes of this movie that kind of gets glossed over. But I love the scene with Arnold and Mercedes in the kitchen the night after they get back to the real world, and he hears Mozart and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" And he's like, he loves classical music. He's never heard classical music before, and it's funny because F. Murray Abraham was in Amadeus. He killed Mozart. It's all connected.
No, I mean, this movie, like you said, has so many layers to it, right? It's meta on the genre of action itself. It is an action movie in of itself. It's a buddy film as well. I mean, you have him and Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like a buddy cop film there. That's why I said it hits all the quadrants. So if I was a studio, if I was trying to sell it, I'm getting a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie with a kid, which was already successful. You said yourself it was T2, but
Yep.
now it's PG-13 instead of R.
Yeah.
We're doing a little wish fulfillment with having kids going into the movies. I mean, it would have been a no-brainer, but I guess you can't beat a T-Rex.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Must go faster. Must go faster. And I just want to talk a little bit about the great action director pioneer John McTiernan, who before this, two of the biggest movies ever, Predator and Die Hard. Kevin, what are your thoughts on McTiernan's work and his style?
It's you always feel the stakes. I mean,
Yeah.
especially in Die Hard, Man Alone, Predator, same idea. You have that fear because you're lost. You don't know where the killer's coming from. So he definitely has that built up anticipation.
Right.
Man still knows how to do a great, satisfying action scene.
Definitely.
Any of these movies, when they're about to shoot those guns and they're ablazing, you just get sucked into it and it's just nonstop go, go, go. So he knows how to build up that tension and then just let it ride right afterwards. I mean, phenomenal person. If nothing, he could have just been known as a great director for Die Hard alone, because
Right.
how many people copied that style since?
Yeah.
But he still delivered Predator. He even delivered this with Last Action Hero. So kudos to him.
I wonder if this would have worked better if it was rated R. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But yeah, I think it was, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a perfect film, but it's a hell of a ride. It's a great, just a fun, it's a roller coaster ride, in my opinion.
I actually like his PG-13.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
said you're opening up more to the younger kids because that theme of a kid going into the movie theater. If you want to make it rated R, you might go the T2 route, make him more of a teenager, or whatever. He was still pretty much like, I guess, a tween, probably is the right word to use to describe him. And then just the little jokes they had there that I liked, but some people might find cheesy. The animated cat that was randomly in there,
voiced by Mr. Danny DeVito.
Wow, how did I not pick up on that one?
Yeah, for sure. And this was the third film that Schwarzenegger and DeVito worked on. First was Twins. Then after this, a year later, they did in 1994, they did Junior. So they have great chemistry, and
They do.
he was perfect as this animated cat. I think they could make an entire movie based on that character. I'd watch it.
Yeah, I probably would too. Think about it, but
I know you would.
yeah. No, I think PG-13 makes sense, but he definitely pushed the limits of PG-13.
Yeah.
Especially when they were in what would be our real world.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was creepy. His apartment, even though his mom's there, the broken home, the tension, him being robbed, him going out now, the Rippers all over the place, the water scene. There was a lot of tension there. Like you could basically, what he was saying is the real world is actually more dangerous than the fake one, and you felt it.
I think the scenes in the real world, the real New York, felt very McTiernan. It felt like Die Hard with a Vengeance again. I mean, well, he did that. He did Die Hard with a Vengeance 2 years after this, so maybe he kind of used some of those ideas into Die Hard with a Vengeance. I love seeing any movie shot on location. I think it adds so much to the authenticity, to the that great feeling of that you're there. And the real.
Did they actually film in New York? Because honestly, some of those look like LA shots.
Well, I know that they filmed
in the real world.
Yeah, in the real world scenes, the one where they're outside in Times Square for the premiere, I believe that they shut down the street from like 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. one night to just film all of that stuff. So,
and Times Square back then was that gritty. It's not what we know today. So I believe that.
They definitely cleaned it up since 1993. All right. So, when I had some downtime today at work, I looked up some IMDb trivia here. Apparently, the body count is 83. Did not know that.
Is most of that from the funeral scene?
Maybe. I don't know. It didn't specify where, but
Because I'm trying to think, like, he definitely goes to town, but where would he just rack up that many numbers?
well, the car chase scenes,
Mm.
scenes in the movie, within the movie. So yeah, it probably at the funeral on the rooftop. Yeah, probably. Also, this was interesting. Danny's apartment number in New York City is 3D. So that's supposed to be he's in that's real life. It's 3D. I thought that was kind of cool. What do we got here? So oh there no, that's not. There's a scene in the police station where Arnold is talking to his ex-wife, and he at one point puts the phone next to a tape recorder.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, they did a similar thing in True Lies with a tape recorder when Jamie Lee Curtis was doing the strip. So that
That's
was
right.
a weird little parallel. Sir Ian McKellen plays the Grim Reaper in one of the final scenes,
He
and
does a great job with that
oh,
one,
he's
actually. Yeah.
as a kid that scarred me emotionally. It was really just really freaky.
So he went from death to Magneto. I like it.
He's a great villain.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else we got here.
I mean, we got to talk about the blockbuster scene
oh
with
yeah,
Stallone. I mean, I know that's
oh,
low hanging fruit.
that's a great scene. Yeah. Yeah, that was just so funny because they have
Stallone as the Terminator. Yeah, of course.
Stallone and Arnold have had this feud for decades. I think they made up for the Expendables movies, but
Well, weren't they in business together in Planet Hollywood? I'm sure, like, the way they say it is they didn't like each other for a bit, but it was mostly because of a competition, not because they
okay.
actually didn't genuinely like each other's people.
Oh, well, maybe.
Yeah.
So let me see here. Oh yeah, no, I just remembered there was a brief moment in Twins where Arnold's character passes by a poster of Stallone in Rambo 3, and he tries to measure his bicep next to Stallone, and it's like, oh, he laughs it off. Very silly, very silly. Let's see here. Oh, I wanted to talk briefly about the film music. So Michael Kamen wrote the score for Last Action Hero. He also scored Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. And there are moments where they mention there's a scene where they referenced Lethal Weapon. Like when they blow up Art Carney's house, those two cops fly into the tree, and he said he's 2 weeks from retirement, and then he dies. They played a little piece of the Lethal Weapon score.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
very subtle, very subtle. And there's another scene where they're in the real world, and Danny is talking about how the villain always comes back to life for one last scare. They play a little bit of the Die Hard score because of the character in that. Anyway, but yeah, Macaulay Culkin was rumored to play Danny. I think that would have been kind of cool actually to see Culkin and Schwarzenegger in a movie.
Has he ever done? I don't think he's ever done an action movie. That would be a whole different dynamic for him.
Well, he did The Good Son, but that's more of a thriller.
That was just creepy.
That was creepy. Killer 5-year-old, 6-year-old. Yeah, definitely creepy.
I could have seen that though. And did they ever say why it didn't fall through? Scheduling or?
Yeah, it doesn't specify. I'm assuming scheduling. Maybe the paycheck wasn't high enough for Culkin. Who knows?
Well, I mean, let's face it. Schwarzenegger takes up a good part of your budget if you put him, especially then at the height of his powers.
He got 15 million for this. So,
okay, 10 million less than Batman and Robin. Wasn't he something insane like that? 25 million.
Oh yeah. I think I don't even know the number, but it was ridiculous. Kind of like Nicholson in the first Batman. And there's a funny line where Nick is talking about how there's awful things in real life, like politicians, and he says it twice, and Arnold's like, "You said that already," and he's like, "Oh yeah, they're twice as bad." And Arnold was governor of California.
The governor.
Yeah. And also, Elijah Wood was deemed too young for the role of Danny. So that would have been an interesting casting choice too, I think.
I mean, I know he did the Lord of the Rings, but especially as a kid, does he look too innocent to be with Arnold Schwarzenegger and a gun?
Yeah, that might not have worked then. I'm rethinking.
I'm picturing him that young, which the best movie I could think of or closest to it would have been Back to the Future. And that's too innocent looking of a child to be holding a gun.
Awesome. Yeah, you're right. Robert Zemeckis and Sam Raimi were each considered for director. So I think they made the right choice with McTiernan, definitely.
Well, if for no other reason, because he ended up doing so much work in this genre, and there's that meta component to it. So who better to know the tropes than the guy who frankly films it all the time?
You talking about Zemeckis?
No, I'm talking about God, why I just blank out his name? Kieran.
We got Robert Zemeckis and Sam Raimi.
Yeah, no, the original director, I'm saying.
McTiernan. Yeah.
Yeah, like they were right to go with McTiernan. Like this is his genre.
Right.
He's the best to make fun of it.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Also the Benedict's henchman, that short, powerful looking Asian man, he had the exact same role in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Yeah, where the scene where Pee-wee knocks on the door, Francis's door to get his bike back, and the Asian man who answers, same actor.
I did not make that connection at all.
Yeah. It's like a weird connection that it's awesome. Also Richard Donner was also in contention to direct, but he did the Radio Flyer instead with Elijah Wood.
Also one of your favorites.
Yeah, well, I love Richard Donner and pretty much everything he's done. The Goonies especially. So those are the juicy bits of trivia I thought I'd share with you, sir.
No, I mean, it's great. Like I said, this movie all around has those little bits of trivia. It's 30 years is interesting exactly for what we said. It's aged in the sense that it's obviously doing tropes that we now consider tropes, but because it's meta, because it's calling itself out, you can look at it now or even further in the future and appreciate it for what it is, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This movie will never go out of style. It'll never grow old for me. It'll always have a special place in my heart for sure. And I'm sure you share that sentiment, good sir.
Oh yeah.
I give it the fact that it's PG-13, which it makes it much better to show young kids, I think. Even though the first rated R movie I've ever saw was Terminator 2, Judgment Day, but yeah, I turned out okay. What was your first action movie memory, Kevin?
Trying to think. It's action, but I'll put it in quotes because it's still probably catered to kids. And you could challenge me on the time or the year, but I would think it'd have to be like Ninja Turtles or something like that.
Oh wow, that's what, the first one?
Yeah, it has to be that, which was a lot more violent than the second, but that would make sense that I would be allowed to watch a movie like that then.
1990, you were 5.
There you go. Yeah, so that might be the first one, but it's no T2. I mean, that one is there's a big range right there.
I know. Would you consider Hook an action movie?
Nah. I mean, I know the last scene, but that's a fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy adventure.
Though, that being said, the scene where they come back to the house and the kids are kidnapped and you see that line of the hook going up.
Ooh.
And the lady's got a scratch across her forehead because he just went straight across the hook. That is really intense for a kid.
Yeah, that was the
even as an adult, that I'm not a fan of that scene. I'll fast forward it, to be honest with you.
You know what also freaked me out about that movie? The boo box. That always got me. Just the thought of being in a small enclosed box with a bunch of scorpions crawling at. Ugh, it's really awful.
I got a video to show you later then.
Okay.
No, it's
What?
a tangent, but
Yeah.
kind of relevant. Universal Studios had a interactive show that was Fear Factor.
Okay.
I did the Fear Factor where they put a cage around my neck and head and they dropped scorpions and they were
Oh
crawling on
God.
my face for a bit.
Real
So
scorpions?
yeah, I'll show you the video later.
What? Okay. I definitely need to see.
I'll
Definitely.
send it to you after. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so we only have a few minutes, Kevin, but I just wanted to mention that this is actually good timing for Last Action Hero because the Nighthawk Cinema, uh, great theater. We're huge fans. I was actually there last weekend for Private Parts, the Howard Stern movie. Awesome. The Nighthawk Cinema in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, is screening Last Action Hero, March 11th and March 12th. And it's part of their special brunch screenings. And I might be there. Kevin, I don't know.
We'll talk.
Yep. Throwing it out there. It should be an awesome time. Tom Arnold's going to be there. No, that's True Lies. Never mind.
Though, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. What's he done lately, other than that cameo in that
right,
show?
That's true. But yeah, the Nighthawk is screening it, which should be awesome. It's in 35 millimeter. I'm excited to hear the sound quality because back in '93 they introduced like a new type of sound technology for Last Action Hero. So I wonder if that's going to transfer over for this screening. We'll see. We don't.
Okay.
Possible. But yeah, Last Action Hero again holds a special place in my heart. It'll never. I'll never stop loving it. It's great. It's just a great movie. Just a fun movie.
It's up there for Arnold movies. I mean, you have your your blue chip #1 Arnold movies, like your Terminators and such, but it's up there.
I'll be honest, True Lies is my favorite action movie of all time, but this is probably maybe top 10, I'd say. Top 10.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's up there. Top 10 action movies, I should say. So yeah. All righty. So we only have a couple minutes left. I wanted to just go over some coming attractions for the week that this episode will be airing. And that would be starting March 14th. Got a bunch of new releases coming out. And I'm just going to go down the list here. We've got a horror film called The Lake, a drama called Full Time, a dramedy called Still Time. And then March 17th,
2 time movies.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. March 17th is a big day for film. Got a bunch of new releases here, starting off with the new Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
Very excited about that. I mean, it's pre-James Gunn, but there are rumors there might have been some tweaks to see how that will fit into his roadmap for 10-year DC plan, and that he's trying to rebuild this whole universe or universes, because there'll be multiverses. Right. First one was fun. I think it's a great way to put it. Though the Shazam movies are fun movies. They're not, dramatic. They're not going to be dark like a Batman or frankly Superman movies lately. But you can have a good time. So definitely.
Yeah. They have the first Shazam had a great tone, really fun, really bright and funny and Zachary Levy, he had the physique. He was really, really buffed, and the suit looked great on him. And it was just a really good movie, just a really fun time. So hopefully the sequel will deliver as well. We also have a Willem Dafoe movie called Inside, where he plays he's a burglar who basically tries to rob a rich person's apartment, but he gets trapped inside in like a panic room type of scenario, and he basically has to basically survive. And it's basically Panic Room meets Castaway. It looks really good.
A reverse Panic Room.
Yeah, basically.
Can I add meets 127 hours also? Because I feel like that kind of would be relevant.
You can throw all those survival movies into the mix.
Listen, Willem Dafoe, the man knows how to act.
You could just watch him reading a newspaper. He's awesome. We've got a dramedy called Wildflower, a horror thriller called Leave, Looks foreign from the names here. Let's see here. Pinball, The Man Who Saved the Game, a dramedy. A Snowy Day in Oakland, comedy. Noise, a drama mystery thriller. American Cherry, Gran Uau, the movie, action movie. And lastly, we have a documentary, Jimmy and Stevie Ray Vaughan, Brothers in Blues. So plenty of interesting, fresh content coming up. Great movies.
I like the phrasing. I mean, if I had to say, you're probably not going to get that many large tentpole films because,
Yeah.
let's face it, there are not that many large studios anymore. There's a handful.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to compete with the DC.
True. And I think DC is doing very well, except for Black Adam. I honestly could not finish it. It was just nauseating. It was just too much going on. The action sequences were too fast, too furious for me. Couldn't get into it.
Pun? Is there a pun there? Because he was in the Fast and Furious films.
That was a little bit
little,
of a little bit.
Except he was in Fast Five, but I'll ignore that.
Okay, appreciate it. So honestly, from like those 10 movies I listed, I think Shazam 2 is the one that I'm probably gonna pay to go see. That seems interesting to me.
Yeah, this is the year. I mean, I know we just talked about Cocaine Bear, which was an original idea, but this is definitely the year of, and like last year, the year of reboots and sequels. I mean, there's so many things from the superhero genre that are continuing on, and even reboots of movies that we like from the 80s and 90s that are coming back. So a lot of there's a lot of money going to be spent in movie theaters for me this year.
Yeah, I hear you. And also, I think I passed over it, but yeah, Scream 6, that is coming out sooner. I don't know.
The 10th, I believe.
Yeah. But we'll see about that.
Well, honestly, it's the last one wasn't horrible. It's no Halloween Ends, which in terms of a lot of these remakes or sequels are horrible.
Right.
I will say that this is the most excited I've ever gotten for a Scream trailer, other than the first two. It could be the change of location. It could be that it was just a really well-made trailer with especially the train portion of that when they're in a subway and you see all the people in the mask. But I haven't said this in a long time. I will pay to see that in the movie theaters.
Okay. I'm gonna go with you. And again, I love anything set in New York, even though I think this is mostly going to be done in Vancouver. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Exactly.
So Kevin, we're over time here.
I'll let you edit.
Anything you want to mention? Any projects or anything you want to plug or?
How about just watch Under the Radar? Otherwise, I'm good.
That's
No,
the
thank you
best
for having
plug.
me. Yeah,
That's
there
the
we
best
go.
plug. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. All right. And if you want to catch new episodes of Under the Radar, just tune in on Manhattan Neighborhood Network every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern for new episodes. Also check it out on cable TV, FiOS 34, RCN Astound 83, and Spectrum 56 1996. And as always, check out the Under the Radar YouTube channel. Subscribe, por favor, and share it on social media. Spread the word. So yeah, Kevin, thank you. This was a great show. Thank you for your insight, and you're always welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
All right, guys. I'm Randy Younger. This has been Under the Radar. We'll see you next time. Take care.